it's almost like this pressure. Your body and your self-consciousness, your self-awareness, pushing against the body, right? It's also the brain. You're going against the brain, right? And it's this pressure that keeps us alive. And it's when this self-awareness, it's this ego finally triumphs and fights through the pressure. We say, okay, I'm gonna kill myself. Something that a sentiment or an idea that I think is true. And it's the statement that to live is to desire. That's a little weird because we always think of desire as something being conscious, right? That we do with our self-awareness. I desire a cupcake because I am hungry. I desire a F-350 because I want to look cool or I want to tow stuff. We always associate it with consciousness, but I want to go further and say that just to live, to be, to exist is to desire life. And I want to do a couple examples. So the first example is probably the easiest example, and that is animals. Their sole purpose is just to survive. And in that surviving is their inherent desire to want to live. No animal willingly wants to die. In that sense, the normal, natural state of being for an animal is to live and to desire to live. Now I want to go into more obscure territory. I wanted to talk about your own body and its desire to live. We always think of our bodies as us, as one ego, right? But I want to think about it in a different sense. I want to think about it in the Eastern philosophy sense, in that we are servants to our body as well. So for example, our heart. To understand this kind of idea, ask yourself, are you beating your heart? I hope you say no. If you say yes, what kind of drug you on? I want to get on that. It's not us or our ego or our self that is beating the heart. The heart is beating itself. So it's kind of like an animal in that sense. It has its own almost reason and to live. The purpose of a heart is to pump blood in this human organism. But why do they pump blood for this human organism? Well, it's to keep it alive. And what is that? To live. To live. And that goes into desire, right? The heart itself wants to live. If it didn't want to live, it wouldn't pump the blood. It wouldn't keep the organism alive. And essentially, it just stopped. But since it wants to keep going in this life, to continue to exist, it has an inherent desire to continue in this world, in this life. And thus, it wants to live. Its purpose is to live. It is to pump blood into you and keep going. Same with the lungs. We can consciously breathe, but our lungs breathe it themselves. So what's the purpose of lungs? To breathe. What is the purpose to breathe? To live. Why does it do it in the first place? It's like, what's the point? Well, it wants to live. Not the lungs itself, but it wants the body to continue and to live. Same thing with plants. Don't think of plants as having consciousnesses or anything like that, but they still have a desire to live. They still want to live, not as a consciousness, but as its primary purpose in life, to grow, to survive. And that inherently, like I said, is the desire to exist in this world. If they didn't have a desire to exist in this world or to live, then they would die. Its desire is not to die, it's to live. So in that sense, to live is to desire to live. And that's what's interesting, is that in every other aspect of, we'll just say, beings that can move in our environment on their own, animals, plants, it's this desire to live. Yet, us ourselves, our self-awareness, has that ability to say, no, I don't want to live. Another reason why I think the body has the desire to live is when the self-conscious person, so me for example, or Mark, a person named Mark. Let's say Mark wants to kill himself, God forbid. So he tries to jump off a bridge. Well, he's on the bridge. He's on the ledge. What does his body do? His heart starts beating really quickly. It's almost like it's saying, stop. Don't do this. What are you doing? I just want to live and keep going, but you're gonna screw this all up. What does his breath do? It's really heavy. It gets really fast. Oh, man, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do this. It's your lungs saying, and what are you doing? Like, I want to live. I want to keep breathing. I want to keep all this breath coming in. I want to use it. And why are you going to do this? Oh my God. It's screaming. And then your whole nervous system starts shaking, and it's telling you, oh my God, all the neurons in your brain are freaking out because they're saying, oh my God, my sole purpose is just to live. It's the desire to live, and all I want to do is live. And yet you, this self-awareness, weird ego thing, is trying to tell me that we're not going to live anymore. And if you jump off this bridge, or we're going to kill ourselves, and the neurons, the heart, the breath, or the lungs, we're all gonna die. And we don't want that. So what are you doing? So it's weird that our self-conscious can override that and just say, no. Heart, lungs, nervous system, and pretty much everything else in your body. No. I'm self-aware of my death. I know I'm gonna die. And yet, Mark says, I want it to be now. He jumps. It's almost like this pressure, right? Your body and your self-consciousness, your self-awareness is pushing against the body, right? It's also the brain. You're going against the brain, right? And it's this pressure that keeps us alive. And it's when this self-awareness, it's this ego, finally triumphs and fights through the pressure. We say, okay, I'm dead. I'm gonna kill myself. That's why most suicides aren't planned. It's this pressure, right? No one knows they're gonna kill themselves until they break through, and within 5 minutes they say, horrible. Because they finally broke through the body's desire to live. which is horribly sad. Terribly sad. And I think if people start to realize this, start to realize that even their own bodies are wanting them to live, to go through the suffering that they are facing, and to continue onwards. Maybe that'll be a little bit more consolidation than just knowing that your family and friends want you to live. Maybe it'll help knowing that yourself is also rooting for you to keep going, to have a reason to live. Dang, that was pretty good, wasn't it?